Hey, Max, welcome back.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
What's kind of been your process since Summer League? What sort of did that experience illustrate that you need to develop or focus on, and what steps have you taken this offseason?
I think this offseason, especially since Summer League, for me, it's just been trying to find ways to get better in every area: strength, shooting, ball handling, defense, just the fundamentals, and making sure that I'm coming in here every day, working as hard as I can to just improve those little things, especially as a rookie, trying to find ways that can get me on the floor so I can really improve myself, especially on the floor. So, yeah, that's what I've really been up to, just coming in every day, working as hard as I can, trying to learn as much as I can.
Max, over here to your left. What was this weekend like for you with the San Diego mini camp and just being around the guys and everybody for the first time as a big group and just being a rookie and all of that?
It was a really fun experience, sort of just changing the scenery a little bit and getting out as a team, working out together, and just sort of experiencing some really fun things with the guys. Some of my first times, like informal practices with a lot of the guys like LeBron, Russ, AD, and being with those guys. It was really cool. And just sharing that sort of weekend, if you will, with the guys, it was really fun. And I think it was sort of a sign to see that we're going to have a really fun season this year.
Max, I'm not sure how much you've gotten to have a chance to play 5-on-5 with these guys, but I know it's been at least a little bit. What have you started to notice about the physicality and the differences and what your strengths are on the defensive end could help, and where you think that lines up with what Darvin is asking for?
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a jump, I think, from any level, from high school to college to the NBA. Like you said, the physicality, the speed, and the terminology, things of that nature. So sort of just me getting used to that, in our little open gyms and our little runs that we have. I think I've sort of, acclimated nicely and pretty smooth in my opinion. And I think there's a lot of ways that I can sort of impact a game, especially as a rookie. Like you said, defensively, I think I can sort of make my mark there and sort of get on the floor in that way. So just sort of getting my feet wet and making sure that I'm doing everything I can to help this team win.
Hey, Max. Dan White here with the LA Times. Good to see you again. Going into seasons, probably your entire basketball life, you've had a pretty clear idea of, like, this is how I'm going to try to impact this team. This is where – and you knew you were probably going to play. I guess, how different is it this year with, like, not wanting to set a ceiling for yourself, but also kind of knowing that a successful year might look differently? It might look more developmentally. Have you kind of been able to wrap your head around that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've definitely made sure that I've stayed realistic with my expectations for myself, the goals that I have. That's not to say that I don't expect a lot out of myself. I want to play as well as I can, but I think there's steps that I have to take. First is getting on the floor, and then what I do when I do get on the floor. Like I said earlier, I think defense is a way that I can sort of impact the game. So I'm just trying to find little nicks and knacks that I can really perfect so that I can get on the floor as a young rookie on this, really stacked veteran team. And so for me, it's just learning as much as I can and improving as much as I can. And if I can do that, I think the rest will take care of itself.
Hey, how you doing? I was very impressed with you defensively during Summer League, and you had the opportunity to play with both assistant coaches. How was that? Just learning from them. We haven't typically seen that, both assistants being coaches during Summer League. How was that experience? And getting experience from that.
Summer League was a great experience in itself. That was sort of my first, NBA action, if you will. And sort of just getting used to what it's going to be like, especially preseason coming soon and then the regular season as well. Just sort of getting my feet wet. And like you said, seeing how those coaches coach and what they expect. Obviously, they come straight from Coach Ham. And so getting a taste of what that's going to be like during the regular season, it was a good feeling for me. And it's something I've stored so that I can sort of, improve on that as the season goes on.
Max, been a lot of different iterations of lineups and such, and JJ obviously went to you tonight with the other four that have been more regular. So what was that conversation, and kind of where did you feel like the focus was for what they were asking from you?
Yeah, he told me a little while before the game that I was going to start, and it was kind of just you're going to start. We want you to bring energy and effort on the defensive end. Obviously, my main assignment tonight was Ja Morant, so my mind was kind of just focused on trying to make it as tough as I could for him. He's a really dynamic player. He's a really good player, so I want to just do as good of a job as I can, just kind of making it tough for him. And I thought I did a decent job of that tonight.
Yeah, JJ referenced that the immediate would just be how you fit with the team right now, and then also looking at the big picture and kind of your development. How are you feeling about that as you continue here in your 21 year?
Yeah, I mean it feels good, and it's pretty cool kind of just to see the progression and the growth in terms of just me over the last 3 years, to be honest. And I think I've slowly gotten a little bit better. I've been put in more tense situations, more important situations, and I think these are good experiences for me, guarding a dynamic player like Ja, being in at the end of the game, and I think it's cool for me just to kind of reflect on the growth that I've had, and I want to keep that going.
Max, the Grizzlies have been as hot as any team in the league coming into tonight, and obviously you guys hadn't been playing your best basketball. What did you see about the group's approach tonight that could be you could replicate moving forward?
I mean, I think it starts on the defensive end for us. I think we did a really, really good job just kind of keeping the ball in front for the most part. They're really good at driving the ball middle. They're really good at their cutting when they drive middle. They have a good wheel action that they run. So I thought we did a decent job defending that. And then offensively, I thought we got to the free throw line a good amount. And I thought we got to the layup. We got a lot of layups and dunks. We got a lot of easy baskets, something we kind of emphasize as a team before the game. You need some easy baskets. And I think we got plenty of those tonight from dunks and layups and backdoor cuts and whatnot. And then Bron and AD had a 40-point game. I mean, he's phenomenal, obviously, on the offensive end, so that obviously helps. But Bron had a good game coming back. AR had a great game coming back. So, it was a collection of a lot of things for sure.
Max, you might have heard him talking about it when you were back there, but JJ referenced the growth he's seen even from the OKC game, late game situation, to Atlanta a week later. In what ways do you feel like you've grown kind of through this season and especially over the last few weeks or so?
Yeah, I think just kind of being in the fire, to be honest, is how I've grown, I think. I think in previous years I haven't been in a lot of high-pressure, high-stakes situations. This year I've had a few of those, and OKC I obviously made a big mistake in that one, but I think that's a good lesson for me. That's trial by fire, right? So you get thrown in the fire, you make a mistake, you learn from it, and like you said, a week later in Atlanta, I come up with a big block. Tonight I'm in for most of the game, guarding a really good player. So it's kind of just the growth of, just being in the fire, failing a lot, and then you got to fail before you succeed. So kind of just stay in the course, one foot in front of the other when you make mistakes and whatnot, and just kind of learning and just doing the best I can.
Max, after the Minnesota loss, JJ said he felt like that was your guys' best defensive game as a collective. Yeah. Obviously, you guys had the performance you did tonight. What, I guess, was been the biggest change you guys have made since the break you guys had in play?
Yeah, I mean, I think our communication's been really good with each other. And I think just our effort overall in general, to be honest, has been really, really good. AD's done a really good job protecting the rim. I think our point of attack defenders, me, Cam, Gabe, have done a phenomenal job kind of keeping the ball in front, funneling into AD. And then I just think, just in general, we've just been playing with a lot more effort and intensity, a lot more force on the defensive end, with a little bit more aggression. I think we're forcing a decent amount of turnovers. We're scoring off turnovers. So, I think it helps. I think they had 21 turnovers, I think, and we had 24 points or something off of it. So forcing turnovers is good for us.
Max, over these last 10 games, you guys have had good stretches, good moments, and then stuff has gone bad, and it's kind of changed the momentum of the game. You guys were up 20 tonight when AD leaves, and they, I think, score like 6 really quick points. What was sort of the energy and the discussion of the team in that moment? And I guess, did you see growth in how you guys handled that in-game adversity?
Yeah, I think our poise was really, really good. I think we scored one basket in like the last 5 minutes of the third or something like that, and we came out in the fourth really hot. So, yeah, like you said, we had a little bit of adversity, and I think our growth for us as a team is we kind of just stuck with it. And we handled it together internally as a team. We talked about what we wanted to do better. And we kind of just came out the other side with a lot of fire. And it kept us in the game when we came out in the beginning of the fourth and kind of came out pretty hot. So, I think in the past it might have had a different outcome. And I think tonight shows a little bit of growth for us as a unit, being able to kind of take that punch in the mouth, just kind of keeping your chin high and staying poised defensively and offensively.
Thanks, Max.
Thanks, guys.
Tell us a little bit about how the adjustment has been here coming to Dallas. You had a lot to deal with and move through quickly early on after the trade, and now you've had a little bit of time. How are things feeling?
They're slowing down for sure. It's a lot to manage, all these moving parts, let alone the basketball side, but even just in life, obviously moving from one place to another is a lot of work. So trying to manage that along with being an athlete, being a professional, in my sport, and trying to help this team win and, fight for playoff position and whatnot. So the transition has started to slow down a little bit from when it, all first went down. So I'm starting to settle in a little bit.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You seem like somebody who is like in it 110%, like a total student of the game, gym rat, all in all the time. Is that fair
It's
assessment?
Fair. That's fair to say. Yeah, I just try to be the best version of myself. So, I'm definitely in all the time.
Where does that come from? Have you always, I know you got so basketball family in your blood a little bit too.
Yeah.
So where does that side come from for you? How did you become sort of a student of the game?
Yeah, it starts with my family, my mom and dad, the way they raised me. They just kind of raised me to try to be the best version of myself and get the most out of myself that I can. And then growing up watching NBA players, like Kobe, and now being with LeBron for the past 2.5 years before I came here, just seeing how they approach the game and seeing how they get the best out of themselves has kind of motivated me to try to do the same thing. Obviously, their success is all an epitome of their hard work and all the time that they put into their craft. And so, for me, I'm trying to replicate that as best as I can because I want to be successful as well.
Max Christie in the paint. And debate about it. Oh, what a blow by! Right into the teeth of the defense to score. Max Christie to the basket.
How you go about getting in extra shots, fitting in extra film work, things like that around practices, around games.
Yeah, it's a lot of balance between obviously, like you said, the work, and then obviously you have to take care of yourself off the court too with social stuff. But for me, obviously you have practices and shoot arounds in the morning, and then recovery's a big part of it too. It's a long season, so fitting that in the night, and maybe coming back in the evening too and getting some extra shots up. And there's a decent amount of downtime that we have in between games where we can fit in stuff like that, some extra work, or I have friends here to hang out with, or hobbies like golf and whatnot. So there's a decent amount of time to fit those things in. And time management is super important, especially being an NBA player. Is you have your games and practices, but you have a lot of time for the most part outside of that, and what you do outside can also determine how your performance during those games.
What is it that you do to feel most prepared for a game, for the big moment in the game? What are those things that are critical for you to step on that floor and feel ready to go?
Your work and your work ethic is all, the preparation towards the game, right? So I feel prepared when I feel like I've put in the work and, gotten the best out of myself, even, outside of basketball when it comes to recovery and hydration and food and whatnot. If I feel like I've really locked down on those things, then I feel prepared to go into any game in any scenario and perform at my best. So that's all it is for me. The work, and the preparation is what makes me feel prepared. And it's not just going out there and hoping that I play well. It's, a lot of things behind the scenes that you put in and time that you put in to feel prepared to go out and do your best.
Are you certain foods and things that you are a must on a game day, or how much are you focused on the diet side of things?
I'm trying to focus on it a little bit more. I'm not super rigid with it, but everybody knows there's certain things that are unhealthy for you and things that are healthier for you. So trying to lean into more of the healthy side and trying to stay away from a lot of those unhealthy things is important. And hydration's super key too. I think that's big for anybody trying to perform at a high level. So balancing those two things and, trying to make sure that, you're getting all the right fuel for your body that you need, especially for a long season like we have. So those are important.
We heard Kyrie tell the story of getting to the arena, and you were already there. And he's usually a guy that's, first one there. So what was your version of that story like as he came walking into the locker room and you were there?
I ended up waking up from my nap a little early on that game day, and I was kind of just sitting around my hotel room and just said I might as well, go to the arena and get there. And I wasn't even trying to beat him there. I was usually the second one there. He's usually always the first one, and I happened to beat him that time. And it was cool just to kind of see him walking in, and he was a little upset for sure. He was a little shocked to see me there. So it was good to kind of, one-up him a little bit. Someone as great as he is as a player and as a human being, it was cool to kind of see his face when I beat him to the arena. So I don't know if it's going to be a habit, if it's going to be an all-time thing. He's going to probably get there even earlier now, and that wasn't even really part of my routine, getting there that early. So, but it was cool. It was cool to have that moment for me and for him too. So.
I love it. I love the competitive side of just arriving at the arena for
showing up for work early.
players. I love that.
Yeah.
You have talked a little bit about, for you, it's not about getting hyped up before a game. It's a little bit more about going in calm. How do you go about doing that? Why does that work for you? And what are the things that you do to make sure you're calm and a good headspace?
Yeah, I think everybody's different. I think a lot of people, like to get hyped up and antsy. For me, I'm pretty much the opposite. I like to be calm, cool, and collected. I think that's when I'm at my best anywhere and anything in life, when I'm kind of calm and able to think straight and kind of,
do things with a clear head is when I'm at my best. And, for me, it's a lot of breath work and a lot of just kind of down-regulating things that you would do to do that. And breath work is probably at the focal point of that for me, just trying to find a way to calm myself down during games, even during games and before games as well. Some games are high-intensity, high-pressure situations. And I think anyone can say that when they're feeling the nerves, it's kind of hard to operate at a high level. So, for me, I just try to calm those down a little bit, a lot of self-talk as well. So breath work and self-talk are at the forefront of my mental game preparation.
Who taught you that?
Parents. My mom is a psychologist. I have my own mental therapist as well that I've, gained a lot of tools from and I've practiced a lot with. So, I got a lot of people in my life that have helped me with the mental side of the game, and I would argue that's probably more important than the physical.
Wow, you said your mom's a psychologist, and she was a great player herself too. What are some of the lessons that she has taught you?
Yeah, my dad was more kind of the physical game. He taught me how to shoot and dribble and whatnot, and my mom was more so, about the mental side, trying to, be in the right headspace for any game. And mental self-talk is super important, whenever you're going through a game and, just, again, trying to calm down those nerves and those normal feelings that any, individual would have going into any, NBA game. You're playing in front of thousands of people, and sometimes you're playing against people you grew up watching. Sometimes you're playing in high-pressure games. Sometimes you're playing on Christmas Day. And there's a lot of scenarios where any natural response is going to be nerves and, a little bit of anxiety and whatnot. And, she's always helped me try to calm down, give me some strategies to be able to downregulate a little bit so that I can perform at my best.
Well, and you've had some great coaches, too, along the way, going back to college with Tom Izzo, and then, now here with Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
What, I don't know if I should ask you to compare and contrast those two kind of coaches, but what did you take away the most from an Izzo and a Kidd so far?
Yeah, I've been very privileged to play for a lot of, really great coaches in my career so far. And, Coach Izzo, obviously, he's very demanding as a coach because he believes in all his players, and he's very supportive of anybody that he plays. And, for me, when I was at Michigan State, he really taught me the extra work, how important that is. I would stay after practice every now and then to watch film with him, of the practice and getting extra shots up, and the importance of kind of keeping the main thing. And, he was always very, very supportive of me. And, now he's the winningest Big Ten head coach of all time. And, I'm very proud and happy to be a part of that, for a year. So he was phenomenal to me. And, Jay Kidd, the time that I've been with him so far, I like his calm, cool, and collected demeanor as well. And I kind of can relate to that. I think I try to be calm, cool, and collected as well when I'm playing. And obviously him as a coach, he's the same way, trying to be a calm, cool, and collected coach. And he was a point guard. He's going to be a Hall of Famer as well someday too. And, he was a Hall of Fame point guard. And, he knows how to manage a game. He knows how to manage players and teammates. And, he does it in a very calm and collected way, which I think, transcends me the best. And I think it also helps us, as players as well, kind of understanding what he says and, not necessarily hearing the tone of the message, but hearing the message itself. He's done a good job of communicating that since I've been here, so he's been great.
When you're doing self-talk on the court and you're trying to defend somebody like a John Morant, for example, you have to dig in against some of the most dynamic players in the NBA at your position. What is it that you do? What's the approach when you're on the court in those situations?
Yeah, again, you grow up watching some of these players, Bron and KD and Steph and Ja and Edwards and whatnot. When I wasn't in the league, you're watching them come up and do their thing, right? And so now when you're going out there and guarding them, it's normal to have a little bit of nerves, like, wow, I'm guarding Steph Curry, or wow, I'm guarding Kevin Durant. It's normal to have those nerves, see what they've done to other defenders, and you don't want to add to that list, right? But, again, self-talk is important just to have, positivity in those moments, and also not be afraid of the moment, not being afraid to be embarrassed or, being afraid to fail, because, failure comes before success, and that's just how things work in life. So going out there with no fear is what's important, and, not trying to shy away from any moment. And typically when that happens, you're more than capable of guarding players like that. And obviously they're going to get the best of you sometimes, but sometimes you might get the best of them. So it just builds that confidence over and over, just trying to go out there and just be the best version of yourself, and having no fear and, putting trust in the work that you put in.
Man, I could sit opposite of you and have like a therapy session. You're so good at this.
Appreciate it.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
The way you approach life and the game at only 22 years old. What's fun for you off the court?
Yeah, golf. I was golfing before this. That's fun for me, just to kind of get outside in nature and be with friends. I like to read a little bit. I'm a little bit of a reader. I'll read every now and then. Video games is obviously a good time consumer for me too. I'm relatively simple. I don't like to do too much, but I do like to do some of those things just to kind of fill my cup up when I'm not playing basketball.
I think we've seen you. Do you come in with a book sometimes on
Yeah.
your way in? Are there any good books that you're reading or would recommend?
I just finished The Pursuit of God. That's one I just finished up. I'm big into faith with the Lord, and that's something that I can attribute my success to as well. He's really, he and God have really helped me kind of with his transition and whatnot. So looking forward to continuing my relationship with him. And then my favorite book probably is Atomic Habits. It's very simple, very easy read, but it tells about the importance of habits and how you build habits, how you break old habits. And so those are probably two of my favorites so far. One that I just finished and one of my favorites.
Excellent. Who are you looking most forward to golfing with on this Mavs team?
Yeah, I hear Clay's a big golfer. I'm looking forward to that. I know he was golfing with Steph when he was in Golden State. Steph's a big golfer as well. But I think, too, just being, hopefully when I can get out with Clay, even just asking him about his career and, questions that he, might be able to answer for me and help me with, because he's going to be a Hall of Famer as well. He's a 4-time champion, one of the best shooters ever. He's got a lot of insight to give, and I'm looking forward to hopefully trying to gain some insight and wisdom from him, too.
That would be a great round of golf.
Yeah, it would be
Very
fun.
cool. Max, thank you so
thank
much.
you very much.
Really
Appreciate it.
your time.
Thank you, guys.
Excellent job.
Thank you.
It's been
Appreciate
great to
it.
get to know you.
That was a decisive move by Arvid.
And taking his time and letting him run by is Max Christie. Way more than anybody else did the other day for Lakers, and here he has a rebound. Into the corner. Max going to fire it up, and Max Christie hits a three.
Get quality minutes.
Yeah, unforced error that time by Henderson and Christie. So from both sides of the floor, he's made a triple tonight. Lakers without Anthony Davis tonight, nursing an ankle. LeBron in the tight corners, and that's an and one for Max. Boy, he was right under the basket.
Doubled him up without him knowing.
I'm not sure panic is the word, but he certainly threw it away pretty quickly. LeBron! Yes, sir! From three. Last minute, 19. And, the turn. Christie from Reeves.
Good job, because Christie was challenging the shot.
Simons with back-to-back 20-point games. They lose track of Christie.
That's because they sent a double team on the box. Christie just ran the baseline and.
Danny Avdia from Israel. LeBron hangs in the air. Somehow, the bullet pass finds Christie. It's his night. Finney Smith looking to get to the rim. That's a good kick out, though, to Christie. Finney Smith, good little dish to Christie, who hit the three.
And Christie continues with the hot hand.
Fortunate for the Lakers. They got a fresh 14. We're under 5 minutes to go. Good interior pass. Max, very unselfish, to the wide open Rui.
Nice dive by Christie.
The lead is only 4. Trying to win their 19th of the year. Underneath is Christie. What do you always say, that if you get open, somebody...
As the Mavericks lost 122-110, Gabbard controlled the tip. On Saturday, Houston played in Boston and won 128-101. Tonight, the scoring starts for Dallas. Push shot up by Şengün is missed. Clay brings it up the floor. Gabbard arriving. Big screen set. And Clay will let it rip from about 20 feet away and hit it.
And obviously, he doesn't like it, but he is 7 feet and be able to raise up and knock it down.
The foul a moment ago on Marshall, by the way, makes it 3 team fouls in the quarter for Dallas, but a bullet to the basket again.
Thinking about sending a second guy. Guys on the weak side are ready to shoot.
It's 11 second chance points now for Houston as Christie floats it up there for Cisse to guide it home.
One of our best defenders.
Şengün setting up the lob. Dallas disrupted it, and then Okogie had it blocked by Klay Thompson. DJ runs the floor. Oh, and a big finish! After the back part of the second quarter was pretty rough for him. Max Christie after Durant hit a 2. Christie, that is, drains a 3.
Steven Adams, they give up a wide open dunk from the corner. Now you're less reluctant to double Durant. Now you give up a layup to Adams.
Rainbow 3 is good there for Max Christie. And that ends Houston's 9-0 run. Down the lane, Shepherd. That's no good, and the Mavericks collect the rebound. Washington again. Up ahead to D'Lo. He's free for three, and D'Lo with a splashdown three. It's a 2-point game. Christie against the zone. Got it back. Now he's organized. Now he's open. Now he hits it. But it's a 5-point game. Where's this going to go with? Oh, it's a cut on the baseline. Christie from D'Lo.